welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hossman, and I am so excited to be joined today by not only a rock star, but a super, super good friend of mine. She is, I'm a National Accounts Coordinator for Peerless Umbrella. She's also the creator of the new event, Green Banana Summit, which we're going to talk about today. She is Charity Poppins. She is Charity Gibson. She is the most amazing. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for that intro. I've been getting some fun intros lately. I'm like, can you guys just walk around and intro me every day, Charity, get some talking in the room? I'm like, oh my God, it'd be so fun. Anyway, you guys fucked me up. You're my best hype man, so thank you.
You bet. Well, I do appreciate you doing this. I think the timing of this is going to be fun. And I want to talk to you about this event. It's a big deal. I always admire people who kind of put themselves out there and, put together an event of any kind. And so I want to talk a little bit about this. As we're recording this, you have a big social media event of your own creation coming up. And hopefully as this drops, it'll be tomorrow coming out so people can still sign up. Can you talk a bit about the event and how it kind of came to be?
Yeah, so two things. I know I originally called it a social media summit, but really it's a brand summit because I think friends don't let friends build crappy brands. And I'm everyone's friend. I really want everybody to be putting their best foot forward, but people don't realize social media is a magnifier, right? It multiplies our message. And if your message is great, it's going to be a great message and it will multiply that great message. But if your message is not so great, you kind of have to think about what you're putting into the world and how that's going to be perceived by people. So you want to make sure that you're telling the best story to the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time to get the biggest return on your investment. So that's what the summit really is. Yes, it's about social media, but I also am trying to get people to understand, like, before you put everything that you do, if you're commenting on somebody, if your janitor in your company has a Facebook and he's wearing your company shirt and he's posting, that is marketing, whether you know it or not. And you're either adding to your brand or you're taking away from it with every single post and comment and phone call. We want to make sure that that brand is putting the best face forward in every aspect before we go, it's understanding where that comes from, making sure we're sending the right message. And then the second component of that too is how promotional products play into that. The idea of influencer marketing. So Brian Fanzo, one of my favorite speakers, and his thing is press the damn button, and huge influencer, and he gets tons of merch boxes every week, and we had a great conversation about what's keepable, what he doesn't like to keep, how much of what he gets he actually keeps versus what he doesn't. Not good ratios, by the way. We're going to go through all that, how brand interacts with social media, a little bit more than just like, here's how to Facebook. So we're past that, I hope.
Well, we hope, right? I think, so I'm curious, that's awesome. I'm excited about just the whole concept of it. So just sort of as a follow-up, why did you decide to do it? How did you come up with it?
Well, no big secret. I want to be a speaker when I grow up, and I love my job at Peerless. That's what I get to do for a living inside of the industry. But I have so many people coming to me for mentorship and asking how I do what I do. And, if one person has the question, I think many people probably have the question. And just like we're talking about with this, it's, how can you reach the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time? You get on a stage, you jump on a podcast, you do whatever. And so I wanted to make my speaking dreams come true. I was waiting for somebody to ask me to speak. I'm like, Charity, ask yourself to speak. Put yourself on the stage, hire the people you want to be on stage with. And there you go. Now you're going to be a speaker on stage with these people. You can learn from them. You can teach others. And it's this cool world colliding, right, of social media and leadership, thought leadership, and then also promotional products and bread and merchandise. And I think there's people on both sides of the table. And then the second component of the conference is the lifelong membership to our private Facebook group, which not only that, we talk about access, right? Like some of the best things that money can buy is access to people. And so I wanted to provide people in the group, in addition to me just running my mouth and whatever. Like you guys hear me talk all the time, so not so special. But it is special.
Still special.
It's so special. Yeah. But having the group too, I wanted to really provide a community so that people can see it's not about selling, it's about relationships. We're gonna have people from the marketing industry, and we're gonna have people from the promotional products industry. Everybody's invited. So now this group is gonna be like, hey guys, I'm doing this conference for whatever. What do you think are great trade show items? Instead of asking a bunch of promo people, we're not hard selling, we're not selling anything, but now we can get information from people that really have the potential to help us do our jobs better. So that's what was in my head. And it's like, I wasn't going to do it. I wanted to wait for the perfect time. I wanted to just let my fear over. I've wanted to cancel it 16 times. And it's like, set the goal, set the date, put it on the calendar and make it happen. And so I don't know if 25, well, at least 25 people will be there. I don't know if it's going to be 50 people or 5,000 at this point, but I feel like whoever's going to be there, I did it, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So
yeah,
thanks for being along for the ride.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of you. Because I do understand that it takes a great deal of courage to put something on like that, because it might not work, right? Like now, again, I think it will work, but I think that when you make the initial decision to do it, that's the thing you have to overcome. So I'm super proud of you. So I'm curious, what have you learned so far? Obviously the event is coming up very soon, but what have you learned so far about creating an event like this?
Well, I thought it was going to be like planning a party, invite everybody over for dinner. It's like a potluck. Everybody brings something and shows up and it's like, woo, yeah, we're done. And it's not. So I have the basics, right? I'm like, okay, so I hired speakers, which by the way, come at a premium. And to get the best speakers, you pay the best price, right? We pay people what they're worth. So super thankful that I was able to just wrap my head around that and say, invest it, spend the money to make the money and see what happens. I have the platform, right? So I think the biggest thing is we're all professionals at Zoom. And so I went through all of these worst case scenarios. I thought we can do it on Zoom. We can do YouTube Live. Worst case scenario, if the whole world is burning down and crashing, we can go Facebook Live. We can pre-record it so we can post it. I'm like, I have the content part of it. Like that is happening. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, cool. I'm just going to if you build it, they will come. No, Charity, we're talking about marketing. So you can have the best pizza on the planet, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to sell any of it. So I posted it on Facebook. I'm like, everybody's going to no, totally we need to post it on Facebook a couple times. People don't really they wait till the last minute to press the damn button kind of a thing, which Brian Fanzo will talk about. And people in promo don't know Brian Fanzo and Gina Schreck, the other two keynotes. So it's not like they're not familiar. Yeah. So that's been challenging. I think the biggest thing that I've learned, I had a call with Brian Fanzo, like our intake call, talking about what we're going to talk whenever. And to me, the best learning experience was, even if this thing bombed and it was like Fire Festival marketing edition with Fire Festival Charity Gibson edition, that call with him, that hour, I learned so much. And I also was able to teach him about the power of promotional products, these everyday items that people are using, that he's using, that didn't even know that our industry, again, we talk about the invisible industry. So that call was super cool. And then if you don't know, I don't know if you know who Lou Diamond is with Thrive Loud podcast. So Thrive Loud is his consulting company. And I was like, Lou, can I just help? Can I just run this by you? Am I stupid for even trying? And he gave me an hour of his time. We had a great conversation. He made me a little sizzle reel, and he was actually talking about measuring success. And he said, is success a number of people attending? And I'm like, well, actually, no, not really. It's all about what the rubric is that we're using for this. Yeah. And so I think just having that conversation with him, it's reinforced for me that this is going to be what it is. And if only 50 people show up, they're going to have access. They're going to have the time, and we can do Q&A, and we can all answer these questions. We can interact, and they can get to know Gina, and they can get to know Brian, and build that community. And so even if that's the worst case scenario and that's what happens, that's a really cool win. So I'm cool with whatever. And that was the best learning experience. And also run my mouth more about it. You think people hear you. Yeah. I don't want to piss people off or annoy them, but at the same time, I'm like, can you hear me? Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that. It is one of those things that you think you've said the story till you're blue in the face and people are just beginning to hear it. So yeah, that's really good. And I think the other thing to think about it is it's just the first step. It's, you know what I mean? It's it doesn't mean that this isn't a finite thing. Once this is done, it leads to something else, right? And so
Yeah.
again, kudos. So I'm curious, I want to move on just for a minute to talk a little bit about sort of storytelling on social media. I mean, all of us are trying to tell our story more effectively on social. So what are some things that you see people that are doing that they're doing wrong?
Not telling their story or not posting.
Mm-hmm.
I think people think that they're not interesting, and so they don't post the things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're just not there at all, and they're missing an opportunity to connect with people. And sometimes I think we're not calling ourselves out enough. In addition to not giving ourselves enough credit, it's not calling ourselves out enough. Like
That's
today, maybe a perfect example was, it's like, okay, well, what should I post on it? It's like, you think it has to be like pretty pictures and perfect. I'm like, no, I washed my hair with body lotion today. Like, and the comments and the engagement and the whatever, like, I made people laugh, but it was like, sorry, Jay, I'm late for breakfast because I have to wash lotion out of my hair. But it's relatable. So just don't miss those opportunities. I think that's what people are doing. The only thing people really are doing wrong, I think I've said this before on a podcast feed, I said, the only thing that people are doing wrong, you can't do social media wrong. You show up as you are. And that's what we need to get to know. It's the only wrong way to do social media is to really not do it at all.
I like it. I like it. Okay. Final question for you. I'm getting a ton out of this, so I appreciate it. So the final question for you is, what is some great advice? And maybe it's happened over the course of getting this event together, but maybe not. What is some great advice that you have received that has really stuck with you?
Well, so oddly enough, everything that I've worked into the summit has something to do with things that I've learned along the way. Okay. So Gina Schreck is the first speaker that we're going to have on, and she's the author of Social Media Doesn't Work Unless You Do. She's also a very well-known speaker. She owns a co-working space. She runs a social media company that takes care of like all the luxury hotel brands and like so many other companies as well. She's just this like powerhouse woman. But one of the things that she said was, you need to celebrate at the summit. When you're on your way there, don't stop and give up. Stop and look back at how far you've come, and that will give you the motivation and inspiration to see how much further you can go. And so that is why Social Media or Green Banana Summit is called Summit. So that is for Gina. I just gave myself goosebumps. That's so weird. But so that is after her. And then even like our sponsorship packages. So learning from Brian Fanzo, a couple things. One of the things that Brian says is, we're a lot more alike than we are different. Yeah. So don't be afraid to tell your story, because somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And then the second thing is, if you do social media right, you're not just one big sales pitch all the time, right? But it's not going to make your sale for you necessarily. But the one thing that social media will do is will turn what would have been a handshake into a hug. And I can tell you 100% that's true today. Melissa Newman from ASI interacts fantastic. She's just this powerhouse on social media. We're in the convention center. I'm at ASI Chicago today, in the convention center, and I saw her recording a video, and I ran it, like snuck behind her, and I was waiting for it to get done, and I was like, Melissa Newman, I'm like, I know you from Facebook. We're like, oh, huge hug, selfies. It was like, I've never met the girl in my life. She's been with ASI for a year, but I feel like we talk, like, and so it's so true. So those two things: celebrate at the summit, and people are a lot more alike than they are different, and social media will turn what would have been a handshake into a hug. Those, I think, little tiny nuggets that are just, they're so invaluable. If you learn those and put them in your heart and keep them, carry them with you, share them with people.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Charity. I'm excited for you. I wasn't trying to be anything other than true. Is that I'm really proud of you for doing it. You and I talked about a couple different projects that both of us were working on separately. And it takes courage, just does. And so kudos to you. I'm excited. So real quick, we'll link it up obviously in the, below the show, but is there a place where folks can go to learn a little bit more about it?
Yes, actually. So you mentioned, what have I learned during this? That's one other really important thing.
Love it.
I was like marketing, like putting this stuff out, and it's all go to charityg.com to register for Green Banana Summit. And it didn't occur to me until last week to buy greenbananasummit.com. So buy a domain name. Also the Instagram handles and all of that. I didn't think about creating Summit as a standalone entity. Like, you make a logo, you make whatever. I'm like, why didn't I make it all of the pages? So now we have that. But for right now, easiest place is if you go to charityg.com, which is my speaking consulting page. Yep. You'll see the Green Banana Summit. You'll also get a little bit of like why it's happening, what it's there for, how it came to be, a little bit about the speakers, and then you have the registration opportunity as well. And then I'm super excited. I mentioned, so your ticket, you can use actually promo code Marketing Joy, and that is going to get you guys $100 off, even though it's the day before.
How about that?
So big discount, right? Don't tell, no, tell everybody, tell everybody.
Tell everybody.
Yeah. Charity G promo code, or charityg.com, promo code Marketing Joy. And then that ticket, not only does it get you access to that day, but if you miss part of it, there are recordings. It's also going to get you the live Q&A with Brian and Gina, which is super fun. We have the Facebook group. So we're going to have weekly posts in there, or bi-weekly. I'm not going to commit to weekly. Let's just be real. It's me. But bi-weekly webinars and other education coming in.
Cool.
Like you, I'm going to have you, because I want you there to talk about Better Business University and the cool thing you are doing, because you are brave and stepped up too. And then also founding attendees. I think this is the thing I'm most excited about. I feel like the best marketers make other people part of their story, and I wouldn't be me without all of you guys. So anybody that signs up to come to this summit, everything going forward is 50% off.
Nice.
So I think we're going to keep doing these. I hope that it's a success and we can keep, going forward with them. So founding attendee, hopefully you guys will stick with me for the long haul. So that's
awesome.
where we are.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you're literally in Chicago at a trade show right now. So thanks for taking the time, and good luck. I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much, and good luck with what you're doing. Can't wait to see you at Summit.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.